June 4th regular meeting of the Sanitary District 2 Board of Directors. Lorena, can we have a roll call, please?
Board Member Casissa. Board Member Lee.
Here.
Board Member Thomas.
Here.
Vice President Ravazio.
Here.
President Beckman.
Here.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. All right, we're going to have open time for public comment. This is an opportunity for members of the public to comment on any items that are not on tonight's agenda. Members of the public will have 3 minutes apiece to make their comments. We do not have anyone present in the chambers who would like to comment in person. Well, maybe Nick wants to comment. Do we? Nope. Okay. Alrighty. Nobody to comment in the chambers. Lorena, do we have any hands up on Zoom from folks who might want to make public comment for open time?
No hands raised on Zoom and no emailed public comment for open time.
Okay, thank you. So we'll close open time for Sanitary District 2. We have no presentations tonight. Item 4 is our consent calendar. These are items that are routine or have been previously discussed and do not require further discussion. Any member of the board or public may pull a consent calendar item for discussion. Would any board members like to pull a consent calendar item? Seeing none, we'll open this up to the public. If any members of the public would like to pull a consent calendar item, please come up to our podium in person or go ahead and raise your hand on Zoom. Do we have any hands up on Zoom?
No hands raised on Zoom and no emailed public comment.
Thank you. And nobody coming to our podium here. So we'll close public comment on the consent calendar and bring it back to the dais. Would any board member like to make a motion on our consent calendar?
I'll go make the motion to approve consent item 4A.
Second.
Okay. Board Member Casissa.
Yes.
Board Member Lee.
Yes.
Board Member Thomas.
Yes.
Vice President Ravazio.
Yes.
President Beckman.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to our only public hearing of the night, which is a review of the proposed Sanitary District 2 operating budget for fiscal year 24-25 and possible direction to staff. And I'll turn it over to Daria.
Thank you. You have in your packet the documents relating to the sanitary district budget. This one is not on OpenGov yet. It's just on these pieces of paper. So I will start by saying we do expect this budget to be revised once the council decides if they would like to issue debt to complete some of the projects. But this budget, as it is right now, includes an 18% increase in revenue, about $1.3 million. Let's see here. The 18% increase is due to the sanitary district fees, sanitary district user fees being raised by 40%. That was approved at the last sanitary district board meeting. Prior to that increase, the rates had not increased since the 2009-10 fiscal year, and the increase was approved following a detailed rate study, which concluded that the rate increase was necessary to complete needed sewer projects. Additionally, property tax is increased at 3%, and that was based on the most recent information from the County of Marin. At the time this was adopted, I received an updated estimate yesterday, and it looks like it will be more like 4%, which is good, but at this time it was 3%. And in addition to the rate increase included in this proposed budget, we do anticipate issuing revenue bonds in order to complete additional projects. And so those projects, the amounts are not included in the proposed budget. And if and when the revenue bonds are issued, staff will present a revised budget, which will include those additional capital projects. So additionally, our overall revenue is increased by about $1.3 million compared to the current year revised budget, and that's mostly due to the increased rates. The expenditures for the operating budget are estimated to be about 10% more than the current year revised budget, about $723,000. And the main increases to the operating budget include an increase of about $176,000, and that's for sewer treatment and disposal services provided by Central Marin Sanitation Agency, CMSA, pump maintenance also through CMSA in the amount of about $36,418. These estimates were provided by CMSA. depreciation expense of about $400,000 due to capital projects being completed and placed on the depreciation schedule. Utilities are increasing by about $132,000 due to large increases in the cost of water and electricity, and then sewer maintenance in the amount of about $25,000, and grant and loan payments in the amount of about $59,000. And then some of those increases are offset a little bit by about $103,000, which is a decrease in the payment that the sanitary district makes to the town for staff providing sanitary district services to the sanitary district. And that's just an estimate. That's that's updated at the end of the year or periodically when the actual costs are known, but that's just an estimate. And that is because the sanitary district does not have any employees of its own. And so the town provides engineering, project management, and maintenance services to the sanitary district. And then CMSA provides management and operational services for the wastewater collection systems, collection pump station maintenance, and related services to its members, one of which is the SD2. Other operating expenditures are expected to be stable, including legal services, supplies, and debt service related to SD2's portion of CMSA's debt services payment for revenue bonds that CMSA issued for capital projects. A list of capital projects is also shown on the third page of the attachment, and those projects total $4,875,000. And as I stated, this will be revised. For example, there's $1.3 million included for Paradise Pumps Rehabilitation Phase 2, but that's just to get the project started. The overall cost in the fiscal year is estimated to be about $7 million. And the Madera Gardens project is included for $2.1 million, but the total cost is expected to be about $3.4 million. So this budget will increase the sanitary district's net position, but it will decrease the cash down to within about $100,000 of its $2.5 million reserve in order to get these necessary projects completed. And then, as I mentioned, then we expect the budget to be revised once revenue bonds are issued.
Great. Does that
Thank you.
conclude your presentation?
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Daria. We'll open this up to the board for questions, and we'll start left.
I just had a question about the additional cost for the water from the cleaning. Did they have a special cost related to fixing one of the biodigesters? Was there additional cost? Do you know, to their budget, or what would be driving the was it 200?
It was let's see.
Like, is that just over?
Yeah, nearly 200, 176,000 for sewer treatment and disposal services.
So is that a one-time like infrastructural cost, or is that like long-term just increases in cost across? I don't know.
Yeah, why don't we bring RJ on here?
RJ, okay.
I know one of the issues is some of the chemicals that they use to neutralize or treat the wastewater. Those chemicals have gone up pretty considerably. Also through some of the different changes in the state resources regulations, how they use them also changes. They used to have the ranges of what parts per million was acceptable. Once it hit the water has changed, so those factors have also contributed to costs. I know that's one of the big issues in terms of increases, and maybe the one you're alluding to.
Yeah, thank you for that, RJ. That's all I had.
Thank you very much, RJ. Good question, Charles. Any questions? Pat, any questions? Fred?
I just have one quick question. On interest actual this year was like 250,000, but then the budget only has 150. I was trying to figure out why it dropped.
Well, because we're anticipating like spending down the cash so drastically,
Okay.
so there'll be less cash, to earn the interest. But if we do, and we don't, even though we increase the fees, we don't get that all up front. We don't get the first payment until December. So if we do issue revenue bonds and then we have more cash in the bank, then I will revise the budget.
Okay, thanks.
And I just have one clarifying question. So I'm going to the revenue, where revenue is broken out on page, or I'm not sure, page 6 of 8 of the staff report. So sewer district user charges, that portion of revenue is increasing from basically 2.9 million last year to 4.1 million for the coming year. But the new rates don't take effect until halfway through this coming budget cycle. Is that correct?
I believe they take effect July 1st.
Oh, you're right.
Yes,
You're right.
but we
Yeah.
don't actually receive them because the county collects them, and we're just on the schedule that the county distributes the property tax. So,
Got it.
although they will appear on people's tax bills and they will be required to make the payments, we will not receive the first payment until December.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so does that mean that in future years, basically the difference between, so if we say like the difference, rounding very roughly, our sewer district user charges are basically going from roughly 3 million last year to roughly 4 million this coming year. And that increase is half of the increase we would expect to see in future years going forward, because those funds won't come in until December, which is halfway through this fiscal year. Did that even make? Did I ask that in a way that made sense?
Yes, I know what you're asking.
Yeah.
The $4.1 million, that is for the entire fiscal year.
But would we expect that to be closer to like 5.1 in future years,
Well,
because we'd be getting 12 months instead of 6 months?
well, we're going to get the way the county apportions these property taxes. They give the sanitary district, all agencies, to my knowledge, they give 55% of what is billed on December 15th. They give another 40% on April 15th. And then the remaining 5% trickles in between June and July.
Got it.
And then throughout the course of the, people don't make their payments on time or something. During the course of the year, we get like these little payments. I mean, they could be, sometimes they're just like a few dollars,
Okay.
or they are, a few $100s or something. But the bulk of it is in December, January. Not January, December and April.
Okay, now I understand.
For the entire year.
Thank you for
fiscal
bearing
year.
with me. Okay, got it. Thanks so much. Any other questions from board members? All right, and if not, we're going to open the Sanitary District 2 budget up to public comment. So any members of the public who would like to comment on this item, please. We don't have anyone with us left in person here, so if you're on Zoom and you'd like to make a public comment, please go ahead and raise your hand, and we will bring you online here so we can take your comment. Lorena, do we have any hands up?
No hands raised on Zoom and no emailed public comment for this item.
Okay, thank you. So we'll close public comment on this item and bring it back to the board for direction to staff. Anyone have any thoughts? We'll start right this time. Fred?
Yeah, I just have two comments. One, and maybe when we issue the pension, the bonds, I'd like to see if we can do 5-year financial projections like we've done for the town. I think it's important when we get that money in that we look over a longer term of where that money's going, how we're going to be spending it. So I think we can do the 5-year financial projections like we did for the town. And the same thing, if we can do like a 1-year look forward informational budget. Again, I'm aligning this with what we've done for the town, because I think they're both helpful, and especially on the 5-year when we're getting a large chunk of money in. But, and I appreciate the work you did on this one. This one, I know it was a lot less, but it still is work. So thank you.
And Councilmember Cassis, or Board Member Cassis, if I can jump in on that one. So the short answer, or if you want the most immediate information, is our 10-year CIP and operating budget that we prepared as part of the rate study. That really is the latest and greatest and most accurate projection of how we intend to spend the money over the next 10 years. So that, I think there's a 20-page report that's available, and I'm happy to share that with everyone if they need another copy.
That? Nothing.
Another good job. Thank you.
All right. right, and my only comment, just kind of for the public more than anything, is just that this, as Daria got to in her presentation, this is kind of a strange time to be doing our budget, because we've got one foot in sort of the old era of low rates, no massive projects, and one foot in sort of this new era of higher rates and upcoming bonds in order to finance really big projects that we have to do. So as Daria said, there will be big changes coming, but we'll revise that budget and bring it back to the board here and make sure that it gets a full public airing. So with that, I think sounds like we're pleased with the work you've done. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, so that concludes item 5A. We have no business items tonight. Is there a district manager report?
No report.
All righty. Are there any board member reports? So I'll just give my last little item here, which was one other thing from CMSA, Central Marin Sanitation Agency, which for members of the public is the sewage treatment plant on Anderson Drive. San Rafael Sanitation District, which is like San Rafael's version of SD2, their collection district is in talks with CMSA to look at potentially, essentially having CMSA hire their staff and sort of have CMSA run the collection district. So this is something where there's going to be, I think, very long and thorough discussions ahead of us to figure out whether there's a path forward here, what it would look like, to make sure above all else that it doesn't negatively affect any of the other members of the CMSA JPA like SD2. So I just wanted to make this known to the board here. My plan is to work closely with Adam and RJ, sort of being a conduit as these discussions happen at CMSA, bring information back to Adam and RJ, make sure that I'm getting their feedback if they have anything that they want me to bring to the CMSA board. And likewise, I think if at any point in this process, Adam and RJ feel like there's a discussion that should be agendized here for the SD2 board to discuss, we can have that discussion, and then I can, bring any decision or any direction back to CMSA. But I just wanted, this is very early times. There's a whole discussion to be had, and nothing is set in stone. But I just wanted to kind of make everyone aware that these discussions have started. That's my report. Yeah, thank you. All right, that concludes our district manager and board member reports. Any comments on our draft agenda for the next board meeting? And if not, we are adjourned for the night. Thank you.
Night, everybody. Thank you.